Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. In today's video, we're going to be going over one of my favorite pieces of Bigfoot footage. I talked about it probably about 2 years ago on the channel, and it's known as the Redwoods footage. Now, this was shot back in August of 1995 by a TV crew and made headlines around North America because it was actually talked about on the Jay Leno show. One of the members of the TV crew was a famous celebrity model named Anna Marie Goddard, and she went on TV and actually talked about it on that talk show. Where, if you actually watch the video, she's actually mocked by the host and laughed at by the audience. It's kind of sad to watch, but I mean, that happens a lot with these Bigfoot videos and with a lot of people who come forward, saying that they have had an encounter with one of these beings. If you're not really familiar with the Redwoods footage, I'll just go over a quick article here, and apparently what I'm going to read you now is the words of Jeff Meldrum, because Dr. Jeff Meldrum was one of the investigators on this case who determined it to be, potentially a real encounter and a real creature on camera with very similar features to that of Patty, other than this creature is a male Sasquatch and not a female. But I'll read to you a few paragraphs here that I found on the internet that apparently is from Jeff Meldrum. The crew of Adventures Television were shooting an episode featuring a drive up the California Coast Highway in August of 1995. The fifth and final day of shooting was in a redwood forest near Crescent City in Del Norte County, California. After finishing, the camera crew was breaking down the equipment, and the other five were relaxing by driving around through the redwoods and partying. The music was up. They were goofing off for the high-8 camera that they were using for behind-the-scenes shots and just to generally document the trip when the Betacam wasn't on. They had turned into a narrow side road and realized there was nowhere to turn around. It was getting dark and it had started to rain, and they were finding it rather difficult to back the 34-foot RV out. At some point, the driver spotted what he thought was a bear on the road, about 35 yards ahead. Their first thought was, wouldn't it be great to have some wildlife footage to include in the episode? But as the object walked at an angle across the road and away from them bipedally, with its arms swinging, they began to question whether it was a bear. They drove forward to within about 5 yards of it, when it retreated back across the road in the direction it had come, directly in front of the RV, the headlights illuminating it up to about the waist. It appears a little startled or intimidated by the RV and the lights, but continues across the road to disappear behind a large redwood. Two of the witnesses immediately ran outside to try and get more footage, but it was too dark and the forest was extremely dense. What one sees on the video is a large, about 7.5 feet tall, somewhat shaggy male Sasquatch that bears a striking resemblance to the subject of the Patterson-Gimlin film. In fact, I have juxtaposed frames from both in which the subjects are in similar poses, and the similarity in posture, shape of head, configuration of neck and shoulders, proportions of torso and limbs is very clear. There are a number of anatomical features suggested on the video that are very intriguing. The head shape and position, genitalia, muscle definition and action, foot and ankle anatomy, and more. These observations alone are enough to cause me to give the video serious consideration, and have arranged for 2 independent enhancements of the video, giving particular scrutiny to the points I mentioned. There is a frame that should give some detail of facial features as well. We will have the results in the near future. I have also been at the site, personally, interviewed one of the witnesses, and read the testimonies of the others. So far, there's nothing to suggest any lack of credibility in their account. That's from Dr. Jeff Meldrum. So he looked into this case, and apparently some other investigators did too. Now, the interesting thing is that Jeff Meldrum's statements about it, being credible, are different from some of the other researchers. Larry Lund and Peter Byrne are a couple of them who looked into the case as well, who think it's actually a hoax. I mean, the most suspicious thing about the video, obviously, is that this is a TV crew who is out filming entertainment in California. So that is, of course, highly suspicious. When you watch the interview, though, of Anna Marie Goddard talking about it, she looks like she believes it was a Sasquatch. She actually looks like she had experienced it and that she believes it. Now, I'm sure she probably has some acting experience as well, so she could be BSing, but just the way she's mocked by everyone on the set of that show, the Jay Leno show, it just makes me believe that she's actually telling the truth. But you can make of that interview what you will. I mean, I'll post a link to it down below so you guys can check it out and see what you guys think. A really weird thing about the video is that it appears that there is something in the form of genitalia, flopping around between the animal's legs. It's kind of hard to catch in the video. You really have to have a close look at it, but there does appear to be something there. So that kind of leads these researchers, especially Jeff Meldrum, to believe that it is a male Sasquatch. And there's other features, that line up with other reports. Like, you do have the head kind of leaning forward. It's kind of got a forward tilt. Definitely like a cone-shaped head. It's big, it's bulky, it's shaggy. There does appear to be quite a bit of hair on the legs. Now, one thing that is mentioned in the information I found online is that there are actual real-life primates, such as the orangutan, where the males actually are quite a bit more shaggy in the hair department. They have way more hair, longer hair, and the females aren't like that. They have significantly less hair. So that's very interesting. But then at the same time, like, a Bigfoot costume more than likely will be quite shaggy. So when you have longer, shaggier hair on a Bigfoot costume, it's easier to conceal things like zippers and seams and things of that nature. But yeah, like, Peter Byrne and Larry Lund did investigations, and they kind of determined it to not be as tall as 7.5 feet. So I guess they went out to the location and they did some experiments with, like, the RV or with a similar type of RV just to see, like, from inside how the creature would look, in that position and lit up with the headlights, and try and kind of recreate the scene to get a sense of the actual scale of the creature. And they determined it to be not that large, but you do kind of get a glimpse of the creature's foot. Near the very end of the clip, you can see it lift its foot up as it takes off into the woods. Now, it's unfortunate because it's shot on a high 8 camera, super low res cassette, like, very poor quality, and not only that, but it's in extremely low light. So all we see is, like, nearly a silhouette moving by in front of the camera. And if you look in this footage, like, it's hard to see it. It's hard to make it out, but you definitely get a shape of something walking upright and walking off, into the redwoods. We're in, California, not too far away from where Patty was filmed. I mean, this is Sasquatch territory. So it wouldn't be unlikely if these people were out in the wilderness, driving around in this big RV, partying. Like, if you were a Sasquatch, this would be something that you would be probably curious of, and maybe you would go investigate. Now, it's also raining and storming outside, which provides perfect concealment for a creature to sneak up on this RV. So it could have just been the perfect circumstance. These people are being loud and obnoxious, partying and driving around in the woods, and they're trying to back their trailer out, and they're having a hard time, and this creature maybe came in to investigate and thought it was, doing a decent job of staying hidden due to, the sound of the rain kind of covering up its footsteps and all the sounds that it's making. And just got caught out in the open by mistake. And that's one thing John Binternagel told me when I met him, is that a lot of the time, these sightings, they happen, and it's due to the Sasquatch making a mistake. They wander out into the open thinking, the coast is clear, and they're caught in the headlights of a car. And that seems to be nearly exactly what happened here, if this is in fact genuine. This one, I don't think it'll ever be determined to be real or not, just because of the strange circumstances as to which it was filmed in, it being a TV crew who were filming an entertainment show, like an adventure show. Like, how great would it be to promote that show is to claim that you filmed Bigfoot, you had this crazy Bigfoot encounter. They got on the Jay Leno show, you know? It's good promotion for that show. So that's all that could have been, is a hoax to get more viewers. But like I said, Bigfoot territory, you're close to where Patty was filmed, more or less. You're in California, the Redwoods. You have some anatomical features that match, you know, lots of other Bigfoot reports, including the video of the Patterson-Gimlin creature, Patty. However, if you are hoaxing Bigfoot, you'd probably base your costume on those encounters and on those pieces of footage as well, especially the Patterson footage. That's like the ultimate image of Sasquatch. If you're going to hoax it, you're going to base your creature off of that, because that still hasn't been determined to be fake. That's the most, you know, significant piece of Bigfoot footage that's most likely real. So that's what you're going to go off of. So your costume will probably have anatomical features just like that. I don't think it's an Ewok. I don't think it's a Wookiee. I mean, they did film Return of the Jedi in the California Redwoods, so it's a possibility it was probably one of those actors in an Ewok suit or a Wookiee suit left behind from the filming of Return of the Jedi, you know, almost a decade prior. So, I mean, it could be anything. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely not that, but, you know, who knows? Just an interesting piece of footage that is very mysterious, and there's been a lot of debate around it as to its authenticity. Now, I like making these videos where I talk about this footage because whenever I do it, usually somebody will come forward with more information that I hadn't been able to find online. Just like the last video about the Independence Day footage. So, if you guys know anything about this video that I don't know, let me know, and I'll make an update on it. And you know, more often than not, these videos are fake and they are hoaxes, and real, genuine Bigfoot footage is extremely hard to come by. And who knows if any of the footage out there is actually real. Can you imagine if 100% of the Bigfoot footage we have is fake? It's possible. I like to believe it's not. I like to think the Patty footage is real, and there's a few other pieces of footage that look really good, so hopefully not. If you'd like to support Mountain Beast Mysteries, you can do so using the GoFundMe link in the description, or you can do so using the PayPal link on the main channel banner. Every donation helps, and it's greatly appreciated to keep this ball moving forward. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and seeing this footage. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.